factors with the days off that help you better now as you prepare for this?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I got some good advice from friends around the league and people I've played, obviously been coached by and played with, and fortunate, to have their championship experience and to talk to them, and I was able to kind of recommend we do some things, and coaching staff has been great all year, obviously, as you've seen, and listening to us, and I thought we had a good week.
Carl, just obviously the matchup with Landry Shamet, just how important is your shooting, I guess, to get him away from the rim? How much of a difference?
Well, I mean, it's not about the shooting. It's about, for me, it's not even a personal thing. For me, it's about our team doing what we've been doing, which is play high level defense and utilizing those turnovers in the defense to get our offense going. So as long as our team plays with that kind of energy and discipline and game plan execution, we have a chance to win every night.
Following up on that, I mean, obviously he was kind of on a minutes limit pitch count in the NBA Cup. I mean, just how much have you seen him grow? Are you looking at kind of almost a different player than what you guys would have seen in December?
I feel like a finals is won by a team, and I think both of our teams are different than what you saw at the Cup, even though, we were blessed to be able to have the chance to win it. We're not the same team that we were at the Cup, nor are they the same team that we played at the Cup. So, it's gonna take both of us to go out there and execute.
Yeah, what does it tell you about this team that this point on has been highlighted by games when you can refer to them by guys lower in the impression, like the Landry Shamet game or the Deuce game? I mean, what does that say about the team and what you guys are being able to do?
I just think this. I've always talked about the unity of this team since last year, and our unity has gotten us to this point. Us being us has got us to this point. Us being unified, us willing to sacrifice for the greater good of the team has been what's got us to success these last 2 years. So it's a testament to the guys in the locker room trusting each other.
Now that you're in the finals, is there pressure to win? And we look at Oklahoma City.
Pressure to win the
Well, I'm
finals?
just saying, Oklahoma City was, people were talking about dynasty, and they won one, and they didn't make it back to the finals. And, Boston, people talked about, they didn't make it here. You're here now. Do you feel like this is your chance? You better take a hold of it in case it doesn't happen again next year?
I don't think anybody who's made the finals would say they don't feel they could win it. And I also think that, of course, when you get an opportunity like this, you have to maximize it. You never know if you get another chance. You never know what life has in store for all of us. And, these opportunities are very far and few between, and you got to make the most of them.
As a guy who grew up in the area and is a fan of New York teams, can you get a sense of what it's meant for you guys to enter the city to build this back up? I mean, I can remember a decade ago, one time, the NBA playoffs weren't having bars in the city like the Knicks were not good. People didn't seem to care as much at the end.
Yeah, no. Like I talked about after the Eastern Conference Finals, it's been an honor to be part of this team, be part of this organization that's bringing the word hope back to the city. To have the Knicks be where we're at right now and to be so respected in the city. I've talked about it on the Jada Kiss and Fat Joe podcast. The greatest currency you could earn in New York City is not money, but it's respect. And to have the respect of the fans in the city, we're rich beyond belief here in the city.
Carl, just the photo of you, I guess your first game, it's been kind of recircling and sure with you in 1999.
Yeah.
How, I guess just how...
Did you want to know if I knew the script?
Basically, how full circle nature of it, how kind of special is that for you?
Well, let me tell you something. I didn't know that was going to come back to be a photo that we all remember. But I just remember in that moment, I grew up a Knicks fan. And to be, my first game as a Knick officially after a wild training camp that I didn't get to have, and really meeting my teammates for the first time at Charlotte for that preseason game, it was really it was a special moment for me and my family. I remember my father was there, my wife was there, and just it was one of those moments. I grew up as a kid, and she understood how I cheered for the Knicks when I was younger. It's kind of something we talk about on the first dates, stuff like that, and she knew it was special to me. And I just got I found that shirt in my first days of actually being on the team, and I found it in Charleston, funny enough. While they were practicing, I was out vintage shopping in the city, and I found the shirt, and funny enough, I wore that shirt for the first game, and here we are, looking back at that shirt as an omen,
It's actually emerged to where the garden is chanting your name as a billboard across the street of the garden. I mean, how have you responded to all of that, just being by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there's been, obviously, you mentioned it, there's been a lot that's gone on, and this has been a special run, but, I think the main thing is I'm trying to obviously not take any of it for granted or, miss out on any of it, but keep the main thing, and stay focused on one win at a time, one game at a time, and give myself the time to I think, formally reflect on all that when it's all said and done. But definitely the love from New York has been undeniable, and that's one thing I'll happily acknowledge and, say it's right back to you guys. And, my focus is on trying to go win game one, and that's where we're all at.
Landry, for someone who was incredibly hot in the last series, what have you done to keep that sharpness over this layover?
Focuses on going on the road and winning game one, and it's been the same. This isn't our first long break we've had, so more of the same, and focusing on the details, game plan, not getting too crazy or outside of the box. Like the reality is we're here for a reason, and we don't need to reinvent the wheel entirely. So. Staying with our principles and focusing on the little things and building up to try to go win game one.
You mentioned game one. I'm wondering what tangibly have you noticed that you guys have done differently, like maybe lessons that you guys may have learned that you're putting into practice so that you don't have, kind of problems with the layout that you had the last time?
I think, like I said, just staying focused on, we can't control the break. We can't control, even at this point, whatever the problems you mentioned in the past, like all that stuff's behind us. And the reality is, our job at hand right now is, making sure our bodies are right, making sure our minds are right, making sure we're paying attention to details. We've been incredibly sharp and locked in, and taking care of the controllables is really all you can do. And then when the ball's tipped up here in a couple of days, it'll be right back into the swing of things of a series. And that's been our sole focus is keeping that competitive edge and staying locked into the rhythm of a playoff series coming up.
But you haven't noticed anything specific, like maybe the mind's done differently over this week?
Of course, there's different things. You're playing a different team. There's different schemes and whatnot, but all of that is a moot point in here. That's basketball stuff for us, and game plan and strategy and whatnot, and all of that's different from game to game, series to series. Even within the series, game one to game two will look different. So, like I said, the main thing has always been the main thing, and that's us making sure we're on point with our principles and our mindset sharp.
I know that going all the way back to Kansas City and Parkville, how you kind of thrived on exceeding expectations, and come all the way here doing that. I mean, is there still a part of you that enjoys kind of surprising people?
I don't really think of it in that sense. I think that's a byproduct that's on the back end, and that's really for other people to decide whether or not they're surprised or not. I'm a process and principles guy, and try to just stick with what I can control. I know I sound like a broken record so far with all these questions, but that's really it. I think if you get too focused on the back end and what you're trying to prove and what you want the response or the outcome to be, ultimately you'll run yourself into a brick wall. So if you focus on the tangible things you can control, and that's what I've always tried to do and prided myself on. Outcomes will be outcomes, good or bad. But if you take care of what you can control, more times than not, I've found that it tends to take care of itself.
In a matchup like this, when they have Victor and obviously with Cat, just how important is Karl's shooting, I guess, to get Victor out of the paint? Has that kind of opened up the offense for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, they're a smart group, and they're not going to just match up that way the entirety of the game. We know that. every team's going to play the game, mess with matchups and whatnot. And obviously, Karl's shooting is something that anybody has to honor, and that changes the game plan entirely. You have to prepare for that. A pick and roll with Jalen and Cat with a versatile shooting big who can also roll and make plays in the pocket, or as well as he's been passing the ball and facilitating. I mean, I could go on and on about what Cat brings to us. That's a factor in and of itself, and however they decide to match up with it, there's going to be pros to that. There's also going to be cons to that and areas that we're going to try to exploit. So, whatever the case may be, we don't know what they're going to do exactly. We have some ideas, but, like I said, once the ball's tipped up, we'll all know and we'll all see, and we'll go from there.
I'm going to ask a bunch of the other guys, but I'm just curious. You need to remember the shot from game one. The one bounced a couple times, went in. Do you remember what in your mind is?
No, man. I'm worried about game one at this point. It was fun. We beat the Cavs. We're here in San Antonio, going to San Antonio, and that's where my mind's at entirely.
You can sense the confidence that people have on the bench right now, from the starters to the fans. It doesn't usually happen that way. Sometimes the longer you go in the playoffs, the shorter rotation gets. What do you think it means for these guys right now to know that there's no one who needs to sit, that they trust all you guys are going to come in and stay the way you're playing right now?
Yeah, we have a mature group and a group that truly, I've said this in the past, that truly roots for each other. It's easy to have ulterior motives creep into a locker room, and some people get bitter about their minutes or their minutes going to somebody else, whatever the case may be. We've got a group that genuinely wants each other to succeed, and we're happy for each other. So that whole next man up thing has been really cool, especially from our bench unit I can speak to. And obviously you get that from your starters. They love having been a starter in the past too. You love seeing it when guys coming off the bench can produce. So we've got a luxury of having a number of guys who can step into different roles at different times, and that might look different from night to night and what's going to be needed. Our goal, again, even with that, is just to try to remain sharp and keep the mentality the same with all of our bench guys, trying to know that we've got to bring some life when we come into the game.
Last question, Landry, as you've seen, the city is absolutely electric. Karl was just in here talking about earning the respect of the fans. Can you share with us how the energy out in the five boroughs and beyond translates to the guys on the roster and the guys who are playing the game?
Yeah, I mean, New York fans they're the best. Even in passing out in public, obviously the excitement's palpable, and the buzz, walking my dog, I'm getting stopped left and right, and it's pretty cool. But the interactions are also just intense and matter of fact, and hey man, appreciate you guys, and it's quick, keeps it moving, but they're also locked in too. Knicks fans are locked in and want to go win game one. You got some of them talking how I'm talking, man, let's just one at a time, go win one. So it's really cool. It's really cool to feel that, and obviously that gives all of us life and some energy in a number of ways.